Hey YA nerds, my name is Kay and I like to read a lot, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Sorry I keep running like super late on these videos. I just keep forgetting to record them now, so that's what we're doing. We're fighting laziness, I guess. We're fighting being overwhelmed by the world, I guess. Anyway, so this week I wanted to talk to you guys about All-American Muslim Girl. This is by Nadine, Jolie, Courtney. Beautiful cover, as always. You know me and my gorgeous covers. This is a library book, too, so it's got that plastic on it. Super fun. But I just really like, you know, the artwork on here. It definitely caught my attention when we got it in the library almost a year ago. In fact, I processed this book and then immediately checked it out. And then needed to return it because it had a hold on it, and so I checked it out again at the beginning of quarantine, and now here we are. This book is 415 pages, and it was published November 12th in 2019. So that's really all the details about it, aside from like the plot. We'll get to it. I do want to say this is an Own Voices story, which I can also explain a little bit more about when I do talk about the plot, because that is kind of an important plot point. But yeah, I read this book in like a week and a half. It was one of those ones that I was willing to stay up till 4 in the morning to get done. And yeah. So in All-American Muslim Girl, we follow Allie Abraham, who is a Muslim girl growing up in suburbia. Her family has moved all over the United States. Her father originally comes from an Islamic country, and she doesn't look like your stereotypical Muslim girl. She is white. She's a redhead like me. She has freckles and blue eyes. But her father is descendant from a, I forget the term I want to use, an ancient race, I guess, called Circassian, which existed in the Middle East, and they had like blonde hair, blue eyes. So the genes are there that pass through her family, and her father married a non-Muslim woman, and then they had Allie, and Allie kind of feels like she has missed out on this big chunk of her culture, and basically the whole world, her whole world is influenced by like what other people think of her family. Since she passes for white, or is, you know, she can kind of like see from the outside looking in as to like what her cousins go through when people make comments about what her father goes through when people question him, you know, about who he is and if he's a terrorist. And this is, like I said earlier, an Own Voices story. So the author, Courtney, she went through a very similar thing. She is blonde. I saw a picture of her online, but she's a practicing Muslim. Maybe she doesn't wear the headscarf, but she practices. And so she wrote this story from her own perspective, growing up as a child who was Muslim but didn't look like it. And so it's a very interesting story, I think. I think it's a very important story. It's important now to like examine the way we fear other cultures and how that affects, like, you know, the policies we make in government and how we treat other people. And so reading a book like this, first of all, very fascinating. I love learning about, you know, other cultures and religions that are not my own. And I think that's also very important to open up more windows to like look out into the world and like see what's around you instead of just focusing on just what you know. Which is particularly why I love Own Voices stories, because they're always rife with knowledge that I would not discover normally. I live in white suburbia. It's just what it is. But that's why these books are so important, because not only do they teach people like me who are ignorant on all of these topics, but they also, like, you hand this book to a kid who maybe is like Allie or like the author, and they see themselves, and it's just really good for that very reason, I think. So, with the tropes on this one, there weren't that many, and I know I've been kind of playing with this idea, but I think I'm going to redo the tropes list, because the more I read it, the more I'm not happy with what I have. I've only been doing this for 2 years. I only have, like, almost 50 videos. I don't know. So there's only 4 tropes for this book. One of them is love at first sight. And I put that because Allie and her boyfriend, whose name is escaping me right now, of course, they kind of like meet in class, and it's almost immediate. They kind of really like each other, and then, you know, by the end of the book, she loves him, which I guess is not technically love at first sight, but in my head, she was like, at first sight, she was already like, no, he's the one. And then the longer they were together proves it. Jumping off of that, we also have Mr. Tall, Dark, and Perfect. While Allie's boyfriend is blonde and technically not tall, dark, and he is perfect in every way, and he is something to be swooned over, which I think she kind of does say at the beginning of the book. We also have no school, which I should really change the meaning of. When I write it down below, it's like school takes place, but no one speaks about it. So I guess that's how I'm gonna mention it. Like, school happens, but it's not like at no point does Allie go like, I have an essay due this weekend. But I also feel like having that in a book makes it boring, so that's not a bad thing. And the last one is only one friend in the world. Allie does make multiple friends, but with this particular trope, it's really only one friend whose opinion she actually cares about, and things happen between the two of them that could ruin their friendship, potentially. So that's why we have that one. Now, as always, I will put like my little descriptor down below as to what I think, as to the definitions of what each of these means, and you can kind of form your own opinions if you want to. If you guys want to help me make a tropes list, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think should be on it. Definitely keeping like enemies to lovers. I'm going to add found families, and I'm going to go from there. So read-alikes for this one. Again, we have Goodreads and Novelist. Goodreads gave me some things, and Novelist gave me some better things. So for Goodreads, we have Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. This book's about 2 young kids. One of them is Muslim, one of them is not. And they go canvassing door to door, I think for voters' rights or something like that, or for some kind of volunteer opportunity. So they're knocking on doors, and I'm assuming there's some instance of Islamophobia that the Muslim girl character has to deal with when they're knocking on a door. And I'm sure, I haven't read it obviously, but I'm sure that's what happens, and that's kind of like a guiding force for one part of the story. But a big part of the story is one of the main characters is incredibly shy and like hates people, and then he meets the girl and then likes her and then stops being that way. So at least that was what I read on Goodreads. The other book is A Match Made in Mehendi by Nadine Bajpa. And I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. And this book is about a young girl. I just read the description. A young girl, I'm pretty sure she comes from like a family of Indian matchmakers who like, match people for arranged marriages, but she doesn't want to do that. She like wants to be an artist. She wants to like go off on her own, but she accidentally matches her cousin with like a rich lawyer guy, and her whole family's like, oh, you have the gift. And so she has to kind of like fight against her own culture and her like own family to like get what she wants. I guess I can see how these 2 books relate a little bit with All American Muslim Girl. I don't think either of them are own voices stories, at least the descriptions on Goodreads didn't say that they were. And neither of them I feel like really dealt with like finding your faith and your voice and like your culture with your family while also being true to yourself. So I don't know. For Novelist, we have Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. This is an own voices story. This is about a young girl. Oh my god, I just read the description. You can do it, Kaye. Young girl trying to like come to terms with her family and her culture, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she's Muslim. I'm totally failing at describing this book. I know the cover is really cute looking, so should be really good, I think. And then the last book from a novelist is Color Me In by Natasha Diaz. This is also an Own Voices story. It's about a young girl who's biracial. Her father is Jewish. Her mother is... Oh my god. I don't have a brain anymore. I'm so sorry. School, like... I was gonna say school has zapped me, but I'm not even in school. You see how it is? Like, work has destroyed me. Anyway, so she finds out some kind of family secret, and she has to come to terms with dealing with that, and it's also like a cultural thing. So I feel like those two books, as poorly as I described them, kind of have a little bit more in common with All American Muslim Girl. They are both star female main characters who have to kind of like learn about their own culture and their own identity, and you know, it is an Own Voices story, all three of them. So novelist did a good job again, even though again I am terrible at describing books, so whatever. So sorry. Jesus. One day these reviews will be good, I promise. For now, my review of this book, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I only gave it an 8 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 because there were a few things in the book that just seemed a little too convenient. I know it's a YA book and like, you know, teenagers, whatever. But there were just some things that I was like, really? Again, like, I'm sure a teenager would love it. I'm an adult, I'm a grown woman, and, you know, I don't need books to work out perfectly. I like it when they do, but I don't need it. But I feel like, I don't know, there were just some things that I was like, Kismet's helping them too much in this. I don't get it, man. So, anyway, that's my babbling review for this week. Hopefully next week will be better and we'll see what happens. But you see, I don't have mental energy to do anything right now. So, sorry for the subpar review. I guess I'll just try again next time. I really did like this book. I know I'm not really saying too much about it in this review. I think it was well written. Again, I learned a lot about Islam, a lot about the culture that Ali is from, and I think that's the most important thing to take away from this book and books like this. So anyway, if you guys like, you can like and subscribe, but it doesn't matter if you don't, it's fine. I'm still on Twitter. I just rejoined Instagram, so I guess now I have a Bookstagram, which I'm gonna update every once in a while when I have a book that I've read that I'm not gonna review. So that should help me with this whole thing, because technically, if you think about it, doing a review a week means I'm reviewing 52 books a year, and if I'm reading 100 to 200 books a year, that means you guys are missing out on 50% of the content that I could be giving you. Not that anyone is following this channel, but whatever. So, anyway, that's a book. Let me show you the cover again. Gorgeous, so gorgeous. Loved it. And, I guess I'll see you guys later, so peace out, YA nerds.